Hooday to all those who celebrate. Welcome back to another episode of Gridiron Jungle, hosted by your two favorite Bengals fans. My name is Kyron. I'm here with my
Yes.
brother Philly Phil. How you feeling
Yes,
today, my
sir.
brother?
I'm feeling all right, man. I'm feeling all right, man. Getting close
Did you
to,
get?
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did I got the real question is, did you enjoy your Penn Station?
You know what? I'll be honest. I did not partake today. I didn't even know what today was, if I'm being honest. I'm trying to remember what I had for lunch. So it was I made lunch at home today. That's what happened. I took the there's food at home approach today, despite the
Hey man,
promo. So
yeah. Hey, listen, man. That's what happens when you got all those kids to buy to be Santa
yeah.
Claus for. You know
That's
what I
that's
mean?
big facts right there, man.
Save
That's
that
big
bread when you
facts.
can, man. Nah,
Got
but
to.
shout out to everyone who got to celebrate Victory Monday, Penn Station Tuesday, the whole
Yes,
nine.
sir.
Penn Station, holla at us, man. Holla at us.
But sure, man. And keep that ghost pepper cheese around too. Keep that around for me. You know what I mean? Keep it around.
Oh man, it is good to be back here with you again, Phil, to discuss one of our favorite topics in the world,
Yes, sir.
Bengals football.
Absolutely.
Bengals have now moved to 6-8 on the year with a 37-27 victory over the Tennessee Titans in Nashville this past Sunday. The score has a slight slant to it. The Titans scored on the very last play of the game when the
Hmm.
Bengals had no desire. Thankfully, it did not mess up any spreads. I'm not sure if it did anything to the over under in that game, but if you were betting on the game, hopefully that last second touchdown either helped you and didn't hurt you. But it doesn't really matter because outside of the gambling world, the Bengals got a win and now have moved, I think, from a 1.9% chance to make the playoffs to a 5.7% chance. Feeling myself on the phone earlier, talking about that and just, possibility. Anything possible. It's feeling real. I said earlier this year multiple times, like, you're not going to pull me in, but man, it's fun watching this team on offense, and it does make you think about the possibilities. But before we
and,
get
and,
there,
and real quick, while you there, what did I say? There's nothing that I want more than a meaningful game on my birthday. And what did the Bengals do today? They
they
announced the Denver game is on my birthday, 12/28 at 4:30 at Paycor. I hope to see you all there. And yeah, man, let's
listen,
party.
listen, man. Let me tell you, I live in Cleveland now. As if you've been listening all year, you know that I've mentioned that I'm going to be home this upcoming Saturday. I'm planning on coming back home for the Christmas holiday. The plan was to leave the day after Christmas to head back to Cleveland. That'll put me in Cincinnati for 5 days. But since they flexed that game and it's my brother Phil's birthday, I got to stay around. It's only right. So I will be spending another couple days in Cincinnati to make sure that we get this dub. They gotta win on your birthday, right?
It's only right, man. Gotta win. It's
Yeah.
funny that the last time that I actually went to a game for my birthday was 2, 3 years ago in Denver. It wasn't actually on my birthday. It was like the 14th, 15th, something like that. But the trip was for my birthday. So kind of
Yeah.
cool just for it to be Denver again and be another meaningful game. So
Yeah. I remember you and Shaq taking that trip. That was a month after I went.
exactly.
I went in
Exactly.
November that year and you went the month later, man. Shout out to
Yep.
both of us
Yep.
for going to December in the winter. I don't know what we were thinking.
Hey,
I guess that's
it
hey,
was
we winter.
beautiful, man.
And what is beautiful out there, the mountains, man. And I guess that's the result of being winter babies. Feels December, I'm January. It kind of is what it is. Shout out to all of you returning. Thank you for listening. Thanks for the feedback. Obviously, last week was filled with a lot of comments, so we appreciate y'all hitting us up and continue to let this platform build. We appreciate all the kind words. I do just want to shout out a couple of things. We had some more YouTube comments. Nothing too crazy, but want to acknowledge we have Cortez Boyce 3772, who just commented who they. We always appreciate those comments. Just
Yes, sir.
name, like World War III, the Rough Rider song, man. State your name, gangster. That's all it is. It's just a roll call. So shout out to you for that, Cortez. Who they right back to you. And
Yes,
then
sir.
question. I have a question for you, Phil.
Yeah.
So First Family Productions 3672 on YouTube
What's
commented.
good, Lynn?
Absolutely. Uday Nation. And then have the question: should we finish the season strong or tank for draft positioning? I think the start of our episode and your desire for a meaningful game in December on your birthday answered that question. It might have been a different answer a few weeks ago, but where are you now with things, Phil?
Man, yeah, I'll be completely honest. I'm never in favor of tanking. It's just I don't know if it's the former athlete in me, if it's a pride thing, if it's I just can't wrap my head around playing to lose. I just feel like that's when guys end up getting hurt. Just bad things end up happening when you just don't uphold that integrity of the game. The famous Herm Edwards saying, man, you play to
Hello.
win. You play to win the game. I personally don't care what the record is, what day it is, what time it is, what uniforms they're wearing. I always want to play to win the game. Now, you take it back a little while to where, we ended up almost missing that opportunity to get Joe Burrow and would have ended up with Tua. Looking back on that, I might have felt differently, if that had to been the case. But, I always feel like we should fight to finish strong. I mean, last year we landed a stud of a first round pick with Amarius Mims at 18th. So I think right now we're looking at the 13th pick. So even if we do win out, as I expect us to and hope we do, um, I expect us to be kind of in that same ballpark unless we go on a really, really crazy run and get into the playoffs, which, I don't think there's any team that wants to see us in the playoffs. So short answer, yes. Long answer, I just gave it to you. I definitely think we should play to win.
Absolutely, play to win. I'm under the belief that unless you desperately need a quarterback, I don't see any purpose in tanking. I think you can find anyone at any kind of different tier to kind of fulfill your team needs. We have a quarterback. We're very comfortable at quarterback. We have skill positions. Obviously, it helps to have more linemen, especially in offensive and defensive linemen. We talked about our needs in the secondary, maybe adding some more speed and youth to our linebacking core, cornerback, the whole nine. But either way, I don't see the need to really to go from the 13th pick to the 9th pick. Like it's not worth it for me. Whether you call it bad juju, bad karma, as Phil said, upholding the integrity of the game, just nothing really good comes from it unless you are the Raiders and you're trying to tank for Shador or something like that.
For sure.
It kind of is what it is. So I want to see us win. I want to see us win out and really see if we have a chance at the playoffs. It feels, and this is just maybe blind fandom, it feels like something's going on. And I feel like we can win these last three games. I feel we need the Broncos to lose the last 3 games, and having them on our schedule, that's going to be a big time game.
Big time.
Yeah, so it made things mean something again. So we have the Browns this Sunday at home. We have the Broncos the following Saturday on Philly Phil's birthday, and then we close we close the season at Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully, we close the regular season.
Hey, I was gonna say if that game in Pittsburgh, if that's a win and get in situation,
it's up.
You best believe it's back on.
It's up. You already know, man.
For sure.
I mentioned the YouTube comment. Shout out to D Hall, man. Shout out to Donovan.
Yes, sir. What up, D?
He had some choice words for us after the Cowboys win. And some of the remarks, the parting shots and things like that. But Donovan texted me today. That's my brother. Been my brother since elementary school. He's a Cowboys fan, as we said, but he did text me today. And I talked to Phil on the phone earlier to discuss this, so we just want to give an update to the people. Pretty much just to summarize this text, hey, I know this is a Bengals podcast. I get that. But I was wondering if y'all are going to keep the podcast going through the playoffs. The words he said, unless the Bengals pull off like a Disney movie-like achievement, we know we're going to get 1 playoff episode, but you guys know ball, so we appreciate that, Donovan. Thanks for that compliment. He said you guys know ball. You're entertaining to listen to, and you give good insight. And you know what? I was like, I'm going to hit up Phil and see if that's something he's interested in. We had never discussed this. Now that the time of the year is coming, I knew that was going to be something I wanted to talk to you about and just kind of see, hey, we want to just talk football in general, even if the Bengals don't get in. And we decided to do so. So we were going to have some fun and really just talk about, the wild card round, divisional round, championship round, and, of course, the Super Bowl. Hopefully, we're talking about the Bengals in those scenarios. But if not, we'll do an overall discussion. I'm sure we'll have a little context, make some picks, pick some winners,
For
whether it's
sure.
spread or money line. Just kind of keep a tally of that and just talk insight because we will be watching every single game, and we'll take it from there. So
Absolutely.
obviously, we have a packed episode for you today. We're going to be discussing the Week 15 win at the Titans. We're also going to be discussing some news. Tee Higgins, if you haven't heard, has a new agent.
Yes, sir.
It might be the end of an era for a Cincinnati kid who wears stripes. And of course, Hard Knocks. I did not have a chance to watch Hard Knocks. I just finished recording another episode for another podcast. But Phil held it down, and we're going to discuss that. So let's go ahead and just get started with the game. We talked last week, and I'm not going to lie to you. We were talking cash. We were talking real big. when we were out down to a 14-7 deficit in the first quarter, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But I also thought to myself, there's no way, as much as we talk about Zach, there's no way Brian Callahan's beating us. I'm sorry.
Facts.
Respectfully, I just couldn't see that. And obviously things changed. The game didn't start off well. I mentioned the score 37-27. Game didn't start off well. 4 plays in. On our 4th play of the game, we threw an interception.
Yep.
Great play by Tennessee. It is what it is. Kind of a sloppy game from Joe and the offense as a whole. He addressed that. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. This game was this game was drunk. This game was drunk.
Yes.
They capitalized off that interception. Tony Pollard had a 3-yard touchdown run. We came back. Chase Brown, Joe Burrow made a magnificent Houdini play, as Jamar Chase called him.
Yeah, they talked about that on Hard Knocks too. That Houdini was all through there. So
okay, then bet, man. Yeah, great response. I do like that after throwing an interception. 11-play drive, 70 yards, ends with the touchdown. That's what we needed. And then unfortunately, the Titans score again on a 9-play drive. So it's 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. We get to the second quarter. We start that with a fumble, which is not ideal. Joe Burrow actually was sacked. I think that's a fumble where he got sacked. And it came out, and Sweat picked that bad boy up, and I don't know who he mugged. Who he mugged and bounced his helmet off the ground. Man, that was a mean stiff arm. That's a big man coming at you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that stiff arm was mean, man. It kind of is what it is. You just got to take that. But we have the fumble, and then the Titans fumble. And then we come back and we score. So we have a touchdown. That's the Sam Hubbard touchdown, which is the same play he got hurt on.
Yep.
Titans have an interception. They throw an interception. We score on that again. That's the beautiful ball, or actually the beautiful catch and adjustment by Tee Higgins to make that play. That's what I call a T play. That's why we call him top shelf T.
Yes, sir.
Put the ball on the top shelf. Make sure the kids can't, climb up here and get it. Keep it out of harm's way, and we good to go. So I love that play by T. That's just one of those things when you watch, you're like, yeah, we got to sign him back. Another Titans interception. We have a field goal. Then we go into halftime. You guys get the gist of what's going on. Second half was a completely different story. Even though we had some punts, I don't believe we had any turnovers. I'm sorry, we did have an interception in the third quarter. But you have a pick six. Shout out to Will Levis. We wish we could play you every week. And then obviously Chase Brown up the middle on a rush, ending the game 37-27. Before I get into stats, Phil, what were your overall thoughts on the game this past Sunday?
Yeah. So overall takeaways, just kind of piggybacking on some of the things that you said. Incredibly sloppy game. I mean, just on both sides, both teams were sloppy. There were 10 turnovers total in this game. Bengals had 6 takeaways, but also gave it away 4 times. So you mentioned a 4 interception. We also had 2 fumbles that were recovered. The Jordan Battle fumble walking into the end zone was embarrassing. No need to switch the ball there in that instance. I understand what he was doing, but no need for that.
Hold on real quick. Can I pause real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I see that's been going on for a very long time. Very long time. It's usually called every time. The only one that comes to the top of my brain that wasn't called was I forget what year it was. It might have been 2012, 2011. Honey Badger when he was at LSU and he had that crazy year, that sophomore season. In the SEC championship game, they played Georgia.
Yep.
And he had a punt return where he did that same thing and dropped it. They did not catch it, and then it counted as a touchdown. But if you watch that replay, he did the same thing. I only know that because I spent an embarrassing amount of time watching Honey Badger highlights of his sophomore year at LSU. One of my favorite highlight reels ever, man. That dude was on one that year. He was on the West Virginia game. All time, he made plays every single week. It was a lot of fun. But I don't know what's up with the spike and people just wanting to drop the ball. Just, bro, tuck it in.
And that's the thing. He wasn't trying to celebrate. He wasn't trying to drop the ball. He was literally trying to change hands and just lost it. I mean, just straight just defender, not used to carrying the ball, man. He was trying to score his first touchdown. It's unfortunate he didn't get to do so because it was his birthday. Like, it would have been cool for him to get that touchdown, but whatever, But 13 penalties for 105 yards. Terrible. You hate to see that. Bunch of procedural penalties, especially in our offensive side. We literally had a penalty on the first play of the game, so you hate to see a game start like that. You talked about being down 14-7 in the first quarter. That was actually the first time Tennessee has scored 14 points in the first quarter all season long. So to your point, yes, definitely had that moment where we're like, here we go again. You also talked about that touchdown that Joe threw to Tee. That was touchdown number 36 of the season for Joe, resetting the franchise record, breaking his own record of 35 passing touchdowns, which he set in 2022. And that was also his sixth straight game with at least 3 touchdown passes. So despite the 2 interceptions, Joe continues to cook. And shout out to the defense for the 6 turnovers they forced. That's the most since 2007. Shout out to them there. And that's what I had on the overall takeaways. I've got some more offensive, defensive, if we want to, talk about those sides of the ball. But overall, ugly game. Want to go ahead and flush it and look forward to probably another ugly one this Sunday against Cleveland. So
we saw. I'm sure people by now have seen the clip at the end of the game where Joe was just frustrated and Zach Taylor's coming over to talk to him in the press conference you just mentioned. It was just a sloppy day. That's what you want to see. You want to see that type of leadership. We talk about it. Phil specifically has talked about it all season. Just wanted to see better leadership from our players and just setting that tone. It's well known throughout the sports world. When you're talking to the media, you're talking to your teammates, you're talking to your team, you're talking to ownership, whoever you need to talk to. You're just using the media as a vessel to get your point across. That was Joe's way of saying, man, regardless of what we're doing on offense and how we're scoring, we want to do it the right way. We want to play clean. And I appreciate his dedication to perfection, wanting to just come out and be the best version of themselves because this is a game with the clock on it, man. Football is not promised. You are one hit away from everything, and it's a privilege to go out here and play that sport. And you don't want to look back at things and say, man, I wish I would have done this better. I wish I would have ran that route a little bit more crisp. Treat everyone like that. Even going to the why am I slipping? Was that Turner battle? Even going back to the battle fumble.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what was being said, but I liked on the sideline, and I don't think they were dogging him, but I just liked Trey Hendrickson being over there talking to him and just kind of whatever was said during that moment, just making sure everybody's still locked in. All right, it happened. It's over. Let's go ahead and keep it pushing. Phil, we have officially your GOAT.
Yes, sir.
Your GOAT, Jamar Chase. We've officially gotten to the point. We've officially gotten to a point where non-reception, 94-yard game is just a throwaway. That's just
the quietest 9-catch, 94-yard performance I've ever seen.
Like people were saying, people were saying, Jamar had an off game. He wasn't off. The man had 9 catches and 94 yards, and that's an off game.
He led us in receptions and yards still. He didn't score, and he didn't have 200 yards, but he still had a hell of a game, man. Shout out to the GOAT, man. That's how you just know the expectations are crazy, man. Uno, 101, man. Shout out Jimmy, too, man. Shout out Jimmy Chase, man.
You about to go crazy with this GOAT stuff, man. Tee Higgins, 5 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Hometown kid goes back to Tennessee, Gets the job done. I don't know if T's ever lost to the Titans since he's been in the league. Maybe his rookie year.
Yeah,
if we played
that
them then.
COVID game that we talked about, I think.
Yeah, and that might be it because we dominated the Titans even when Vrabel was there. We just kind of had their number. They haven't. I don't even know the last good quarterback they had. Was it McNair? I don't know. I'm being facetious when I say McNair. Because they made some playoff runs. Who was?
You count Ryan Tannehill as good? I mean, they made the number 1 seed with Ryan Tannehill, but I'm not gonna say
that's
he
right.
was good.
Tannehill. They had Jake Locker. They had Mettenberger start some games from you. Right, they haven't had a good quarterback for a long time.
Bruh, you want to talk about being wrong?
Zach Mettenberger.
I love Zach Mettenberger.
I got one up on you. One up on you, man. Shout out to Donovan. I shouted him out earlier. I forget what draft that was. D. Milner.
Oh,
cornerback from Alabama. Got drafted by the Jets.
Yep.
Trash. Man, you could not have told me and Donovan that D. Milner was not about to be the next Revis, the next prime time, the greatest thing since sliced bread.
He wasn't.
We laugh about it. Listen, we still laugh at ourselves about that. Like, sometimes you get it wrong. We were wrong. We were loud and wrong. Thankfully, we weren't recording or had no podcast. But that's
the type of player to get signed right now off a practice squad somewhere.
Nah, straight up. That's exactly what he is. That's exactly what he is. But but like you said, sloppy game, drunk. You want to be playing your best football right now, which I think in some areas you are, but not all the way. No sacks for Trey, but he did have a forced fumble. Hold on, did Trey have a sack? I know BJ Hill had a sack in the game. I think that's the only sack. And I always take great pride when we force a benching of a quarterback, and that's exactly what happened to Will Levis. 8 for 12, 89 yards, 3 interception, one of them going for a touchdown. Will Levis, it looks like your season might be over.
While you're on that, I'm not too confident or not too sure that we might have not lost that game if they started Mason Rudolph. Rudolph came in and went 21 for 26 for 209, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, but he came in and was very efficient. And, from those years in Pittsburgh, he's familiar with us. He's had some good performances against us. So I'm thankful Levis started the game. I'll just say that. So.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. And it's funny because when you look at the stats, like team stats, the Titans out
they threw for 298
yards.
Yeah, they ran
291. They had 374 total yards, so our 370. So they outgained us by 4 yards. Outpassed us. We outrushed them 101 to 83. We both averaged about 6 yards play. We both lost 2 fumbles. The big turning point, like you said, Phil, they had 4 picks to our 2. Both only allowed 1 sack. Our third down efficiency was an incredible 76%, but they were 62, which is nothing to sneeze at. And the time of possession was even. They had the ball for 31 minutes and 29 seconds. It was a pretty much, you can tell that the coach for the Titans has been around the Bengals organization and knew what we wanted to do. I'm not mad at their game plan. I'm not mad at the game plan. We just got the turnover battle. Ugly game, but we walk away with the victory. And as we expected. So it was cool to make sure we see that. I don't have much to say about the game per se. We talked about just kind of how drunk it was and how kind of all over the place it was. The main thing is we got the win. And that's all that matters at this time of the year. It doesn't matter if it's ugly or not. Get that win column and keep it moving. Now we are preparing for Cleveland. Speaking of bench quarterbacks, Jameis Winston has been benched. And when we were at the game, Phil, when we were at the game in Cleveland, that was the same game Deshaun Watson got hurt. And instead of actually putting in
Jameis was
the DTR.
Jameis was the emergency quarterback, and then DTR had a mystery hand injury, which allowed Jameis to come in. So that's why that played out that way. I'm kind of surprised to see him pull Jameis so fast. I mean, it's not. I mean, I guess maybe you want to see what you have in DTR, but I thought Jameis was kind of positioning for a shot next year to be the guy, but I guess not.
Yeah. So Dorian Thompson-Robinson is who we're going to be facing. I would not be surprised if that game does not get out to a strong start for the Browns, that we will end up seeing Jameis. Hopefully, I hope we do see Jameis because that means we are smacking the Browns around. and we're up pretty big. I mean, I'm talking about third
I
quarter,
don't.
coming out of halftime,
Yeah,
28-7.
I'm not trying to go against any Jameis speeches. You know what I mean? I don't. That's a different type of motivation right there.
Yeah, it feels like a game we should be winning. Obviously, Nick Chubb broke his foot.
Man, that's
Feel
unfortunate.
for him. Yeah, feel for
Yeah.
him just because his body is going through a lot from college to now. Puts it on the line
Mhm.
every single week, just like everybody else in the league. So you want to make sure that everybody's healthy. You want to go against teams at full strength. But
Absolutely.
quarterback change, starting running back, Pro Bowl caliber running back's not there. Myles Garrett hasn't been 100% really.
Hmm.
Listen, that's the name of the game, man. It's kind of who's healthy at this point. You see this all
Yep.
around the league. Mahomes has a high ankle sprain. A lot of
Yep.
key players and star players around the league are hurt. Um, and if that's to your benefit, you kind of just roll with it, man. You can't. You just all teams can do is line them up. All you can do is line them
Yep.
up. We just knock down whoever in front of us, regardless of what position they're in. So hopefully the Bengals do not play with their food and get things done this Sunday. What are your thoughts on that game, Phil? What do you think is going to happen? Do you have any predictions? And how are you feeling about the AFC rivalry for the Battle of Ohio?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I expect an ugly game. I expect it to, regardless of who ends up starting at quarterback for Cleveland. I know they've been trying to keep it, close to the vest, but it is likely going to be DTR. But even if they do play Jameis, I expect a close game. I expect a divisional battle. Cleveland has continued to play us well, regardless of who has been out there on the field. Um, you know, the game in Cleveland this season was, we were in control most of the game. You never
Mhm.
really felt threatened, which is even more reason for concern because just Cleveland, this isn't one of those teams that we've been able to sweep in recent history. So, the guys should be motivated. So I'm definitely looking forward to us continuing to make timely plays and hopefully get our first 3-game win streak of the year because it's now or never. It's do or die as it has been for the past couple weeks. And I think they ultimately pull out a win, but I do expect it to be a AFC North close, ugly type of game. Haven't really thought about a score prediction as of yet, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, those are the games the Browns like to play in. As you saw earlier, they beat the Steelers in prime time. They beat the Ravens this year. They
Mhm.
like division games, man. I don't care what's going on. They are a tough team and not a difficult out when it comes to the AFC North. This game that we played earlier in the season at Cleveland, remember it was a 21-14 game. Um, so yeah, it wasn't a blowout. They opened up, or at least it opened up from what I'm saying. The Bengals are favored by 7.5. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I expect that number to probably come down. I wonder
Yeah.
how many people are slamming, or actually, the public is probably looking at the quarterback change and probably slamming the Bengals. So I wouldn't be surprised if it closes at 8 or something of that nature, or even just stays at 7.5. But I really do think that if I give a prediction of a score, 27-14 is really sticking out to me. I do think they cover the spread. I
Hmm.
do think it's going to be a game where um, the Bengals are locked in. I think this Titans game really it put a battery in my back as a fan, and I think it put a battery in the back of the team.
Hmm.
Um, I just think there's a little bit more pep in their step. You don't control your destiny, but you do in a sense.
Yeah.
All you can do is your part, and that's winning. Be 1-0 each week for the next 3 weeks.
Yep.
Um, and then we'll take it from there. So I like it. I like our
Hmm.
chances, and I think they're going to be motivated, and I think they win by double digits, and I think we keep things rolling for your birthday celebration.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man.
Yes, sir.
Um, let's talk about some news. First and
Real quick,
foremost,
I
go
was gonna
ahead.
say real quick. Other things I just want to shout out real quick. Chase Brown had 100+ scrimmage yards in his fourth consecutive game, which is the longest active streak in the NFL currently. He's also just one game shy of the Bengals record of 5. Cedric Benson did it twice in 08 and 09. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis actually did it in 2012. And AJ Green most recently did it in 2013. So It's been 10 plus years since that since that has happened. So would love to see Chase Brown be able to get 100 plus scrimmage yards in this upcoming game against Cleveland. And then also got to give a shout out to my guy Fig, man, Josh Newton with his first career interception, which ended up being a pick six. Love the kid. Happy to see him get that. And another interception for Geno Stone. Big pick six there.
Pick
So
six. Your
gotta shout out
man's.
Geno. Gotta shout out Geno, little bro. He he looked like the best player on the defense at Sunday. So it was good to see. Shout out Mike Hilton, big game to him. Another big bounce back game by CTB. So I just wanted to make sure I saluted the guys right there on the defensive side also. And shout out to Chase Brown. I've been hard on him. So shout out to Chase Brown.
Yeah, I've been singing apologies to Chase Brown for a while. I think earlier in the season, if you listen, I always say he's better change the pace back, and he's been proving me wrong week in, week out. I'm glad you're on our side, Chase Brown.
Yeah.
Shout out to you. Shout out to holding it down and getting better each week, really, which is really hard for somebody at that position to do.
He kind of reminds me of like I don't know, man. Kind of like almost like a Devontae Freeman, but not as reckless. But like he's got that same kind of like just one speed. Like he's always just looking for that explosive, looking to, make something happen. So
yeah, you look at his size and you don't expect him to be the one that gets better as the game goes on. You look at those Derrick Henry types, but he's just in that boat. And he's continued to excel. So I mean, not be surprised if Chase Brown is a Pro Bowler this year.
For sure.
At least selected. Hopefully he doesn't have to go because we're in the Super Bowl.
Yes,
well, once again, I sound like a crazy Bengals fan right now. So let me chill out. Let me reel it back. To your point, for those of you, I know PFF has slants. It's not the law to go by. There are a lot of some things look funny in the light when they look at the ratings. However, if you do follow PFF and you do live by their numbers, Geno Stone, the highest graded Bengal this past weekend.
Shout out to Geno, man.
Yeah, Geno, 92.8. McKinley Jackson was second. BJ Hill third. Mike Hilton fourth. Actually, BJ Hill and Mike Hilton were tied for third, and Miles Murphy was fourth.
Man, shout out Miles Murphy. He had a really good game, man. I think he probably just from on the rewatch, he probably had the best game as a pass rusher, if I'm being honest, even though BJ Hill had the one and only sack. And even though Miles Murphy only played 30 snaps, he was really getting after it. I think he ended up having 3 pressures. 2 were hurries and 1 ended up being a quarterback hit. So he had a really solid game, man. He wasn't as strong in run defense, but he definitely had a good game rushing the passer. So I was happy to see that.
Also got to highlight CTB, man. We've been on your tail all season trying to figure out what happened. You did have an interception with a nice return. Welcome back. Once again, now show us that you are that guy and do it again, and then do it again after that, then do it again after that, so on and so forth. You can't just do it every now and then. To be elite and to be great, you got to do it every single time. It's funny. I was having a conversation with someone at work, and we were just talking about college football. And we got to remember, man, the coach's job is to find someone better than you.
Yep.
That's what they do. That's what they get paid to do. My job is to make sure the best player is in this position and to find someone better than who's doing it right now.
Yep.
And guess what? Your job as a player is to make sure that to let the coach know there is no one better.
There you go.
I am the best. So if you CB1, CTB, like I think you are, like I think you have the talent to do, lock in and let's get it. Let's get it, man. And like you said, I'm glad you shouted out Newton for his first career interception. That kid's a dog. I loved him when we drafted him. And I'm just looking forward to his future. Very raw still got a lot of things to work on.
For sure.
But the future is bright, all in all. Sam Hubbard on the injury report. Looks like he is going to be done for the year. I believe it's a leg injury, PCL, yeah. There are rumblings that this might be his last run in stripes.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could see because he's definitely become a rotational player. So I think you could see a situation where he takes a drastic pay cut. I don't see Sam wanting to go play somewhere else. So I do see a situation where they work something out, and DN is probably our weakest position in the entire roster. So, having him on the back end of your roster as a veteran leader at, some minuscule amount, I could definitely see that. Otherwise, no, sayonara. He definitely won't be playing on that $9 million that's due to him next year. I can guarantee you that.
That's without question. Is it crazy? This might just be me, man. Maybe I'm a little. We talked about the game being drunk. Maybe I'm a little drunk. Is it crazy to want to have him like as a rotational defensive lineman?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah,
That's the only role I would want him in. I don't have I the only reason why I have beef with him is because he's a starter. Like if he wasn't starting, I would have no problem with Sam. But that's my problem. They just continue to run him out there as a starter because he's one of their favorites. And I mean, granted, we don't really have any other options other than Murphy or Osai, but they haven't been what you need them to be either fully. So, what are you gonna do?
yeah. No, that's a great point. I don't want to I don't want to write the eulogy for his career in the Bengals. There's too many unknowns. We don't know. We're gonna have plenty of time once the offseason kicks in and kind of see what the draft heads, who's going to resign, who's going to come back. Phil, everything you just said, I think is accurate. He's definitely not coming back for that $9 million. That's 1,000%. But at this phase in his career, he's not, and it's not just this season. If it was just this season, I could see him maybe looking to go somewhere else. But it's been the past couple. He's from Cincinnati. He's pretty much lived in Ohio his whole life.
Literally
went to Moeller, won there. Went to Ohio State, won there. And when I say won, I don't mean games. I mean championships. And he still has to win one in Cincinnati. So I don't see him wanting to leave that. And really, I don't think people we see the sports side of it, but the life side of it, of picking up your family and bouncing and leaving something so familiar, once again, your entire life in one state, that's a lot. And I don't know on the other side of that, I don't know if there's a real big demand for Sam Hubbard to come in the building. I mean, obviously from a leadership perspective, if you have a young team and you want a leader to kind of show these guys the way, but I could see him back as a Bengal. I don't think it's over for his career yet. Maybe a 1-year deal, just out of respect, and we'll see what happens. Like you said, as a rotational player, and hopefully ends his career here. And obviously, he will be in the. I think he'll be in the Ring of Honor. Yeah, the Ring of Honor at some point down the line. So
Hubbard Yard Dash solidified it.
Hubbard Yard Dash definitely solidified that. That is without question. And being from the city. So get well soon, Sam. Hate for your season to end this way.
For sure.
But hopefully you heal up and we'll see what the future holds once that time comes. In other news, and a little bit more upbeat news, Tee Higgins fired his agent as signed with the same agent that represents Jamar Chase.
Yes, sir.
Been a lot of rumbling about what this means. Joe has made some pointed comments to the media about T being a need. He would be disappointed if he's not back. Then Jamar made a case about he deserves to be back. It sounds like there are some things in the works to maybe make the money side of it work for everybody to come back. Phil, what did you think when you saw the news that T is not only switching agents, but signing to Jamar's agent?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't be happier. Obviously, some people will think it's a conflict of interest, but I think, that was by choice. I think that was by design. Rocky Arsenal is his new agent. Big time veterans, been doing it a long time. So really, that they are able to get something done, because he's gonna know what Jamar's asking, what Jamar's wanting. I don't know. Joe said he's willing to do whatever it takes to get him back. So I don't know. Maybe Joe pays him something out of pocket. Maybe Joe covers his rent and covers his mortgage. I don't know. But I definitely expect T to be back. I don't think he would have switched agents for any other reason outside of that. So I'm in the camp with Joe that I would be highly disappointed if something doesn't get done and we don't see T in stripes, not only for next year, but for the next few years. You know, I'd love to see a contract get worked out that lines them all up together. So
Yeah, man, it's been a roller coaster of emotions, man, because for the longest I just didn't see the pathway to get here. I
yeah,
didn't look like it was going to be possible, and here we are. Uh, so I'm just kind of, fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. I feel much better and optimistic. Like you said, I don't think you make a change like that if you plan on jumping ship.
right.
Um, they're gonna try to work it out, and hopefully the Bengals do their part and make that transition very smooth. So we'll see what happens. But it is all good signs pointing towards the Cincinnati Bengals in this franchise. Phil,
Yes, sir.
if you're watching on YouTube, I'm not wearing my normal Bengals gear. I am in Carolina blue right now. The night we're recording this, Carolina played in the Jumpman Classic in Charlotte. Unfortunately, lost by 6 points to Florida. As I was telling Phil, what's even more unfortunate about that is I took Carolina plus 4.5 and would have loved one more bucket, but that did not happen. So I'm double sad, which is why I normally don't bet on the Tar Heels because I'm not only emotionally upset, but I am financially upset by the results. I say all that to say, I had a recording and was watching a little bit of that game. I did not have a chance to watch Hard Knocks. You did.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about some highlights. Before you get into it and talk about the Bengals, what was my boy Tomlin up to, man? You know, that's my favorite thing. The very first episode of Hard Knocks that came out, the very first AFC North, I texted Phil and said I could watch this on loop all day. Tomlin just coaching.
Man, they continue to do it right. They open with Tomlin, you know what I mean?
Why wouldn't they?
And he's building it up. He's talking about Philly versus Pittsburgh, you know, the Pennsylvania State Championship. That's how he's positioning it to him. You know, he's talking about, I think they had won 9 in a row. He was talking about them being red hot. And he said, I don't know about you all, but I like to be the one to put the fire out. So I was getting jacked up. Not like I didn't know the outcome of the game already. Like I was about to go out there and play. So, you know, Tomlin did his thing. You know, it didn't transition. You know, Philly handled them. But it was a good game. I think it was closer than what the score indicated. That was a really fun game to watch, I'll be honest. And you know, it's always good to see Pittsburgh get slapped around. So
lost money on that game too. Sad weekend. NFL be kicking your boys behind, man.
But no, yeah, Tomlin did his thing, but the Bengals was really saved kind of to the end of the episode again, even though it wasn't a Monday night game like it was last week, but that was kind of cool. They opened up the Bengals segment talking about our faint playoff hopes. It's Joe, you know, talking. I think he was talking to Capper or talking to Jasicki. He was like, or no, he was talking to Sam. He was talking to Hubbard, and he was like, I definitely think we're gonna win out, you know, whatever happens, you know. So, you know, they definitely got the right mindset. They're definitely going for it. Nobody's checked out, everybody's checked in and, you know, ready to get to it. Like I said, they were discussing winning out, and just Sam was like, I saw the slide that shows what we need for us to get in. And Joe was like, yeah, my dad sent it to me. So they definitely are aware. They know what's needed. They know, you know, what the road ahead, the hill that they have to climb. And the funniest part I thought was there was a moment in Hard Knocks where Joe was talking to Alex Kappa, and he said, hey, Cap, is playing O-line fun? And Kappa was like, no, not really. And then they had a good little conversation, and Kappa, I really like his mindset. He talked about, you know, the positives and some of the ways that you kind of gotta, you know, celebrate yourself in those small wins, because, you know, O-line is like, it's like being a parent, man. That's a thankless job, you know. If you do good, you were supposed to. If you do bad, you gonna hear about it. So it was another good episode. Obviously, when we win, it's good to see us on camera. They had a real good segment with Jamar. He was doing some charity work at a little like Christmas giveaway, give back type thing. So that was cool. He did he had a kid that asked him if he liked playing with Jamar. I'm sorry, with Justin at LSU, and he asked to do the handshake. They did the handshake. That was cool. And also, they had a little segment with Jamar's dad, Jimmy. So that's why I had to shout out him earlier in the episode. But somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody up in the box was like, "Hey, Jamar Senior." He was like, "It's Jimmy." He was like, "Jamar look like me. I don't look like Jamar." So yeah, I just thought it was cool. It sounded like something my pops would have said. So just really cool. They highlighted their relationship, and it's always good to see those positive relationships with a father and son, especially in our community. So really dope that they highlighted that. And that was really it on the Hard Knocks end. So
cool, man. I can't wait to watch, man. Like I said, we know the results of the games and things like that, but just to see the preparation. And I told everybody, like Tomlin, I think he's dope. Even Stefanski. Did our boy Zach light a fire under anybody this week? I've said it before. I'm more motivated to go to the DMV than I am to listen to Zach Taylor give a speech.
Yeah, no fires were lit.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, shout out to Zach, man. I know we hard on you, man. I promise it's tough love.
I
don't want nobody to feel like we picking on Zach, man. We got to. When it's there, we gotta call it.
I would have a drink with Zach, you know what I mean? I'd have a sit down with him. I might watch some ball with him, you know what I mean? But I still don't want him lead. I still don't want him leading my team.
Time out.
Yeah.
The number one thing on my bucket list might be to watch a game with Zach Taylor because I want to see what you seeing.
Nah, facts.
How are you breaking down film? How are you watching this? What is your mind? I would love to get in your head. And you know what? And if I come away with that and thinking like myself, Zach really knows this sport, it's gonna piss me off. Because you know the sport like this, so why are we in these situations, bro?
It's like watching Evan McPherson kick, like, bro. Like I done seen you kick every kick possible. Like, what's going on? So
yeah, absolutely, man. All right, I'm looking forward to watching it. I'll probably watch it as soon as we end this recording. Just to kind of wrap the night up. Listen, we're in the thick of it. We're getting into week 16.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to everybody out there who is still alive in their fantasy football playoffs. Good luck to you.
Man.
Shout out to everybody who's just enjoying what we expected to happen all season. We're going to take it 1 week at a time. I don't want to go too far back and say, man, it would have been nice if we did this or won this game. Let's just stay in the moment. We know what's in front of us. Got to go 1-0 for the next 3 weeks and take it from there. I will be back in the jungle for the first time since the Eagles game.
Man.
Which sounds crazy. I haven't been to a game in that long. So it'll be my first time since the Eagles game. I'll be in the jungle. Phil will be in the jungle as well. And I'm going to do it twice, back-to-back weeks. Twice in 6 days. We in the jungle. Make sure if you're at that game on the 28th on Phil's birthday, reach out to us. You know what I mean? Let us know if you're gonna be there, man. We'll see if Phil want to flick it up, man. Maybe take some photos with the people.
Hey, I don't do it too often, but I'm down to flick it up with the people.
Also, make sure that you wear the right color for your section. It's Stripe the Jungle game.
Yes, I'm in a black section. I will be blacked out. Believe that.
I'm pretty sure I'm in a black section. I want to wear my orange North Face, but guess what? I'm gonna wear that black Guess bubble coat. If that's what it comes down to, just to make sure we're warm. But I am looking forward to it. Most importantly, hold on, what's today? No, we'll have an episode before Christmas and the holiday. I know not everybody celebrates Christmas, but whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's Kwanzaa,
might drop on Christmas, actually.
Might drop on Christmas. We'll probably be recording on Christmas Eve because we do like to get the hard knock content on there. So yeah, it might be our gift to you, maybe something to wake up to on Christmas morning. And that's pretty much it. So we'll holler at y'all again next week and give you all the good wishes. Until then, stay positive, stay locked in, and most importantly, who they?